So hello everyone, welcome to this live session. So give me a minute, we'll start. All right, so I hope you all can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So what we will do today is we will go through some of the questions that you are likely, I mean, not the questions that you are likely to see in the quiz, but the format of the same, right? So how to answer them, what kind of format we'll be asking, and all this. That is what we'll be covering in the at least in the first part of this live session. All right. So I hope you can all see both the screens. It's important that you are able to see the entire screen here. Right. I'm assuming that you can. Okay. So we'll go ahead. Okay. So the basic idea will be we'll go through it question by question. There are like 5 problems having some questions have subparts, so we'll go through them, and then one at a time we'll solve them and look at some methodologies and how to approach the problem and all that, right? So the idea is not to use the Python interpreter for any of these things. Okay, that's the best way to simulate the exam conditions, so we'll try to do that. Okay, so you can ask your queries in between if you have any. Once in a while, I'll also look at the chat. So hope that is fine with you all. Okay, right. So first problem is this. So consider this snippet of code. Okay, so it's some for loop with some something that's asked here. It's printing something, and select the code block that gives the same output as the one given above. All right, so I request you all to, if you have say a pen and a paper, please sit down and try to work this out. It's a very simple question, but for the remaining problems in this session, it would be really good if you can, sit down and try to solve this without using the interpreter. So I mean, if we can execute this in interpreter, we'll just get our answer right away. But just 2 minutes, please take the time and try to do this.
Scroll up, please.
Yeah. So what we will do is, if possible, I will try to show the question here and the options here to begin with. Okay, so the question is this. These are the options.
We need to write in chat.
I mean, not necessarily, but if you, so yeah, maybe chat is a good idea. You can all post it in the chat, and then I will have one look at the chat to see what you have all posted, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so I think this is fairly straightforward for most of you. You have given C as the answer. Let's look at it, right? So I will now go for the rough space. Okay, so few things. I think Prof mentioned this in the last live session. You won't be expected to remember fine-grained details of different functions. But one request I would I have for all of you, at least this range function, right, being a very common thing. We have kept seeing this range often. So at least range you must kind of know decently. Okay, so range is going to come again and again, not just in this exam, but in the future also. So yeah, so what is this snippet going to do? It's just going to print all the numbers from 10 to 19, right? So range of 10 comma 20 will be the numbers, will be the sequence 10, 11, so on till 19. So that's what the for loop is doing. And as you have all pointed out, this is the correct answer, right? So this is doing exactly the same thing. So here it's kind of like very straightforward, but I would just still like to ask this question. Why is option A wrong?
So it's not incrementing value of I.
Okay, option A is wrong because it's not incrementing I. So why is B wrong?
It's I lesser equals to 20.
Nice. Okay, why is C wrong? I mean, C is the correct one. So yeah, A and B are wrong for exactly the reasons that you pointed out. Okay, so this is a good exercise for all questions in all the assignments. If you not just, if you don't stop with the correct answer and you go ahead and see why the other answers are wrong, that will be quite useful. Okay, so we'll move to slightly harder questions. We'll just take up the problem on the left hand side and the question and the options on the right hand side. Okay, I've started getting some answers. Okay, so shall we discuss the answers then? So most of you have answered as D. Let's look at it. Okay, so you are given a function, do something of p comma q, right? And here, based on the question, we can see that we are passing dictionaries to p and q, right? So that's what is happening here. And let's maybe toggle this rough space. So what will be p when you pass it to the function? P will be this particular dictionary, and q will be this particular dictionary. So when you pass these two to do something, p and q get these two values, and r is a new dictionary you are initializing. You are going through each key in p first, and you are essentially adding that key, and the value corresponding to that key will be the same as the value in p. So initially what happens is r becomes a0, and then you go through the next key in p. So after lines 3 and 4 are done, this will be the value of r, right? A will be 0, B will be 1, which is essentially nothing but r will be having the same key value pairs as p. Okay, so this is step 1. Then step 2, what happens is you do the same thing, but this time for q. So q also has the same key as p. So A is common to both p and q. So what will happen is that since the keys of dictionary are unique, it's just going to be overwritten. So A will become 10. Okay, B is anyway already there in R, and the second key in Q is C. So C will become 100. Right? So, and then finally this dictionary will be returned. The third step will be the printing of the whole thing. For key in ABC, print X of key. So what will that be? A corresponds to 10, B corresponds to 1, and C corresponds to 100. So that is 10, 1, and 100, which is what is given here, as most of you have correctly pointed out. Does anyone have any questions with this problem? Anything that is not clear?
If there is additional key in the for loop, say D, then will it throw complete error or it will print at least ABC?
You mean here? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So it will print ABC and then it will it will throw an error. So if you add D here, it will 10, 100 will be printed, but the fourth line in the output will be a key error. I mean, it won't be an proper output. It will be a key error, key D not found. That will be the. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I hope there are no other questions in the chat. Yeah. So this is more like a practice for quiz. Okay. Right. So I think most of you got this right. Again, maybe these are all still simple questions. Yeah. Question 2, based on the same thing, maybe I will keep the function here and show you the question here. So question 2, based on the same function, is this. Okay, so most of you have again got this right. So the answer will be 2. Okay, so does this depend on what type of key values are present in T, or is it independent of whatever is there in T? Any answers, anyone? Does it depend on what is there in T, or?
Sir, just one thing, like, are you giving some sort of questions, or like, are you solving some random questions, or like, what's the system?
So this is more like random questions. So random in the sense, like a prelude to the quiz, more like
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yeah. So the question is, what will? So why will the answer be any different depending on the values present in T, the content of T, or? Okay. So I get that the answer is independent. So right. So it doesn't depend on what T is. It could be any sort of dictionary. All that we need to ensure is that T is some dictionary. Okay, so when you get problems like this, right, where you are not specified the exact value of T, you could perhaps take some example. A simple example would do here, because this should be true for any dictionary, right? Whatever output you get, because we are asking the question in such a general sense, whatever answer you get should be valid for any dictionary. So you could as well just substitute, say, this particular dictionary and check your answer. That is like a shortcut, but I would advise you to try to understand the code so that you don't even need to have the options to help you. All right, so that is basically the second question in problem 2. Okay, Louis, we will move on to problem 3. Problem 3, question 1.
So didn't got it, like, again.
Yeah, you want? Yeah, sorry. Can you repeat your question?
What was the question? I didn't got it. Like, if you could repeat.
Which question you are talking about? This
T comma
one
T.
that I am showing, or the previous one?
The previous one, T comma T, which you are showing. T comma
Hello?
T. Yeah, T comma T, that question which you are showing.
Oh, okay.
Do
So
something
this
T
T
comma T.
comma T,
It's
yeah, so
independent.
the question is, what will?
Please again
Yeah,
explain
hello.
that. Am I audible?
Yeah, am I? Yeah, so can you come again? So you are not clear about the solution to this, is it?
Yeah, like, how it is not depending on T, like.
Okay. So see, we will just use this rough space and go through this line by line. Okay, see, do something. Where is that do something? See, what we are doing is here, we are passing T to both the dictionaries, right? So P will also take the value T, Q will also take the value T. Okay, and what are these two lines doing? Apart from going line by line, at an abstract level, what is it doing? Can you understand what these two lines are doing?
Like, if a key exists, if a key exists in P, then such key is added or updated in R accordingly.
Okay, so what essentially is happening is that these three lines are just copying the dictionary P into R.
Yeah.
Right, and these two lines are updating whatever dictionary R you have copied so far, and if there are any new keys, they will get added. If not, you will just be replacing the existing key with rather the existing value with whatever value is there in Q. Right.
Yeah.
So since you are passing the same dictionary in both the places, you will end up with
Got it.
the same dictionary T here also. I mean, the same contents. All right, so that is why the length of the return dictionary will be the same as the length of the input dictionary. So by the way, length of T is the number of keys in T. Okay. So that is what length will return here. Okay, so I'm moving.
Question 1, like here also, like after P and Q, there like A value will get updated to 10, B will be 1, and C will be 100. Accordingly, we'll get the value.
Yeah. After you do the second pass, or rather the pass through Q, then A will be updated to 10 and C will be added new.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, problem 3. That's the question. And here are the options. If there are still problems with the previous question, tell me, we can finish it now itself. Okay, so you all seem to be convinced that the answer is one of A, B, and C. A, B, or C. No one wants me to show option D, is it? If you think that is not the right answer. I have not yet revealed what D is. So maybe I'll go down here. A and B are anyway visible here. So okay, so we'll now look at the answer. So a lot of you have suddenly jump from A, B, C to D, right? So what we'll do is I won't reveal the answer right away. I think most of you know, but still, let's go option by option. Let's see why each option is right or wrong. Okay.
Just one thing, like
Yeah.
person can have like should like it is necessary that some person should be given something like, or something somebody can be left also, like I am
That
not given anything and the other two brothers are given something.
that should be clear from the questions. Can you identify if that is there in the question or not?
Actually, I believe that like one person can be left because like one is a sister and like okay, something like that can be.
Okay. So see, the important line is this.
Okay, at least one. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. So that is the main what we say catch here. So let's look at this. Let's see if this is right or not. For I in range of 100. So is this right or not? And anyone can answer.
No, it's not correct.
Okay, can you tell me why it is not correct? Why?
Because if you take the I value, it cannot reach to 100. So it will be maximum 99. Okay.
Okay.
The J is 1. Okay. And your K is 1. So in the last value, what will happen? It will become 100 minus 99 minus 1. So 100 minus 100, it becomes 0. But as per question, it should have at least one count. So in that case, it is getting filled.
Okay.
No, it may happen even negative.
Yeah. So yeah, first answer is right, but this the negative thing is even more dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So this is 50.
And it could add up to more than 100.
Yeah, yeah. So that is the well, it won't add up to more than 100, right? It may not add up to 100.
Values, a lot of duplicate values.
It will always add up to 100, but
Yeah.
The issue is this could be negative. That's the main. Okay, so that is why option A is wrong. Let's look at option B. Okay, what is right or wrong about option B?
It will also take the value 0.
Yeah, it is starting from 0. That's right.
Okay, so range always starts from 0. I mean, not range always. Range of A or range of a single number will always start from 0 to that number minus 1. All right, so that is why B is wrong. Let's see option C.
Same thing.
Same thing, right? So again, 0 is a problem. And finally,
It ensures all the conditions.
right? Yeah. So it's always tough to explain correct answers because wrong answers you can give a counter example and just close the deal, but the correct one it's correct, yeah, right? So but still let's try to go over it. So
No, it satisfies for I, J, and K all the conditions, and then only if the summation is correct, it will append.
exactly, right? So all conditions are satisfied. No one is going to get 0 because they all start from 1, and no one can get 100
Yes,
also,
100.
right? So
Yes, sir.
all 3 are satisfied. So that is why this is the correct answer. All right, so that is done. Unless anyone has any questions, we'll move on to question 2 here.
In the option D, if instead of if summation condition, if division dot, it was same like option A, division dot append I, J 100 minus, then D option would also be incorrect.
Yeah, right, you are right. So if you had tried 100 minus I minus J here, that then also it won't satisfy. So yeah. So now question 2.
Here if I comma j comma 100 minus I minus j, so automatically k is equal to 100 minus I minus j. If this condition I plus j is equal to k is equal to 100 holds, that means that k is equal to 100 minus I minus j.
Yeah, mathematically you're right, but the problem is if say 100 minus, I mean, okay, wait, 1 second. 100 minus,
100 minus I minus j.
okay, let me just go back. Did I miss anything? So I and j, okay, yeah, right. Why did we say that it is wrong then? So I j 100 minus I minus j. So let's just go back to this option A once.
It's not like I plus j plus k is equal to 100. Like sum is not equal to 100. Like it be 111. Okay, so
Right. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So Kumar, I think this. See here, if I replace 100 minus I minus j, then it will still work. I mean, it's here. If I do that, it will still work. But
This
I
will
think,
still work.
yeah, what I think he meant is,
This if condition is not there.
yeah, if you remove the if condition and do, it will still not work. I think that's what he meant.
okay, so no problem.
All right. Okay. Okay. Question 2 now. Okay, I have some answers in the chat, which I will see. They are all mostly false. Anyone wants to give true? We will see. We'll wait.
I was looking for true.
So set do not have repeated items.
Yeah, but each tuple is unique, it seems.
Right. Exactly. Right. So each tuple here is unique, and that's why even though it has unique elements, since the list division set, since the list division by default it has unique elements, at least in this case. So converting it into a set is not going to remove any elements,
Okay.
any duplicates. So that's why this will be false. Okay, and what will make this true? What operator will make this true?
Equal.
Equals to.
Well,
Okay. So this will be double equal to will make it true. All right. So yeah, so that is the second question. So anyone has any doubts in this, please stop me right now and ask. Okay, I hope there are no issues. So we'll move on to next one. Question 3.
Option C and D.
Okay, so here we'll let's assume that C and D are not there, and I mean they are there of course, but let's just try printing the correct value. So let me say option D is correct. So can you write down what D should be in the chat, all of you? What should be option D if it is the correct answer? Okay, I think most of you have got it. So option D now. Okay, so the first line prints true. I mean, it returns true. So A, we know that A, B, C is in division. So what does that mean? Some equation should hold, right? What is that equation going to be?
A plus B
C
plus
equal
C equal to 100.
Okay, so A plus B plus C will be W equal to 100. This statement will also be true. And because of symmetry, you can see that every permutation of this ABC, BC, AC, AB, whatever, all the 6 ways of permuting this, all of them will be present in division, right? So, and that is why these two lines also are going to end up printing true. Most of you got it right. Any questions, anyone, at this stage, or shall we move on?
We can.
Okay. All right. So, question 4. Okay. So, answer to this, I see that most of you have given it in the chat. I don't see any wrong answers anywhere. So, it is true, right? So, why is it true? Why is it true? Why not false?
because of the tuple length. Is one tuple. If it is one tuple, then there are 3 variants for it. That is why it will always be a multiple of 3, the length.
Okay. Yeah. So, is it 3 or is it 6?
One tuple is ABC.
Okay.
So all the variants put together, it will be a factor of 3 of that ABC.
Okay. Yeah. So, no, I'm just curious. What will happen if I change this to 6? Will it still be true?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And reason being?
There are for A, B, C 3 values. So the first value has total 3 factorial 3 possibilities.
Factorial 3, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Nice. Okay. So that's the reason. Don't worry. This much of math we won't be asking. So you are not expected to know permutation combination to solve.
So division is a list of tuples.
Yeah. Division is a list of tuples. Yeah.
Could you explain once more why it is divisible by 6 or 3?
Yeah. So see, let's say you have A, B, C. Let's take concrete values. Say 60, 60, 10, 30. Right. Let's say this tuple is there in division. Okay. So if this tuple is there, then we know that 10, 30, 60 is also there because that also adds up to 100. Likewise, all different ways of permuting this, right? So 10, 30, 60, 10, 60, 30, then 30, 10, 60, 30, 60, 10. Then we missed out one here, which is starting with 60, 30, 10, right? So all these 6 will also be there in the list.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Got it.
Okay. All right, so that is the end of this sequence of problems. Problem 3 and all the sub questions. Look at the chat.
And sir, if they will ask what is the total number of tuples, then what will be the answer?
That's a tough question. I also don't know the answer to that, but you can rest assured that we won't ask that question in Python at least.
In permutation, we have A plus B plus
Yeah,
C.
you can ask in statistics you can expect such questions, but certainly not in Python. But it's a good question. The stats team will be very happy to answer that. And if in case
It was in Maths 1.
right, in case I also happen to find that out, I will get back to you next session.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to problem 4.
Yet to complete.
Yeah, so problem 4, I need to show you this. Oh, that's all. There are no sub questions here. Can move back to the rough space. Okay, so I see a mix of 50 and 51.
It will be 51.
Okay, so anyone who gave 51, can you tell me why you have written 51 as the answer?
There is this new line.
A new line character also for the last line.
Yeah, so that's the catch there. So typically what's going to happen is if this is your file, it's going to write all even numbers, right? So I percentage 2 double equal to 0. So it's going to write 2, 4, 6, 8, so on. And it's going to go all the way up to 100. So 100 percentage to 0. So it will write 100. And because of this slash n, it will also enter the next line. Okay, so it will enter the next line and it will just stop there. It will close the file. Right, so there are 50 even numbers in between 1 to 100. So that will be 50 lines plus this one new line. All right, so you have to be careful about the slash n whenever it comes to file writing. Okay, so the answer to this is 51. And what will be the value of count? Sorry?
50.
Okay, why not? Why not 51? Why 50?
The last will be like while null will be false.
Okay, but look at this, right? So line 10, you're not reading any line outside the file, right? So all your lines are being read inside the loop only. So you read the first line and then you increment count. you read the second line and then you increment count. Likewise, you will read the 51st line in the file and then you will increment count, right? So you will do it 51 times. Is that not?
Right, sir.
Okay, so this count will be 51. Its count is nothing but the number of lines in the file. That's what counts. That is counts per
Yeah,
term.
okay. Count will go to 51, then it won't, while loop will terminate.
So if you write count upside of line is equals to file dot read line, then it will be 50, right?
If you write count where, can you tell me where?
After while line, if you write first count equal to plus.
I mean, if you change the order of count, it should not matter. So
No, actually, after while line, after next line would be count plus equal to 1.
okay, are you saying this? If you do this,
Yes.
it won't matter. Is that what you're saying?
No, it will be 50 then, right?
It will still be 51, right? See, these two are a pair. I mean, 10 and 11 form a pair. Whatever happens to how many ever times you execute 10, you are going to execute 11 for the same number of times, right? Do you get it? I mean, if this line number 11 is going to get executed 51 times, then line 10 will also be executed.
51 or 52, like one more thing.
No,
51 or 52, because like actually like last will be slash n. Okay, reline that null character. Okay.
Any doubts?
Like, if line, like if it is like something like while line is not equal to null, that's nothing now.
Yeah, that is exactly the same as this while line. So if line is equal to null, then you will get out of the loop.
No, sir. What he is telling that when the slash will come in the last line, so it is reading as a line. Okay, then it will go here. It is still reading as a slash n. The count will increase as a +1, and once the read line will come, it will find null space. So that time it will be out. So it's already counting. But in the both cases, it is the same thing.
Won't we get 52 here?
Okay, what we'll do is we will take a, if we are not able to clarify here, we have to go to the interpreter, but let's take this, right? Let's say mock underscore txt has 5 lines in it. Okay, so this will be mock dot txt has 5 lines in it. You have written, so let's remove the right part until let it not confuse us. Okay, I'm reading mock.txt. For now, it's easier if we have this on both the places. Okay. Yeah. So what's happening here is, let's just focus on this here.
Like if instead we wrote while file, can we write that thing like file is a pointer and like it will be pointing to that, like instead of line?
Yeah, no, first we'll sort this out. See, file, you're opening the file, line count are initialized. So while line,
If I'm using file, like while file.
No. So
it would be an infinite loop.
Yeah, so let's not get in
It
there.
will be null, like it will finally it will find the end of line character, like that's what I want to ask, like.
Right. So see, the file object is a bit tricky. So let's not see file object. See, we have seen how strings are compared, how strings perform when they are in some sort of a Boolean expression. But file object in a Boolean expression is something we have not seen. So let's not get confused with that. So let's stick to strings, right?
Okay. So
Okay.
I shouldn't expect any situations. No.
Yeah. So while so whoever asked why this will not be 51, the expected answer is 5. So let's go line by line. While line you enter, you read 1, and then you read the line 1, right? So you read the first line. So line is now having 1/n. So that's the first iteration.
We have
Then,
also count 1, right? So here itself for start we are incrementing the count, right? At the start only.
yeah. Okay, so is the doubt clear now, or?
No, sir. We have initialized line as start, right? String, and we are saying while line count equal to count plus 1. So for for line equal to start, we are incrementing the count. Then it would be 6.
Okay. See, we are incrementing count for the line that we read in line 5.
I'm not asking about the end line, sir. I'm starting about the starting only. The condition is while line, right?
Yeah.
So for the first time we see the while condition, it enters the while condition and increments the count 1. So by the time we reach the first line, the count will be already 1, right?
Yeah. So after you read the first line, count will be 1. So it will be 1 even before you read, but when you come out of when you finish the first iteration of the loop, count will be 1. Likewise, when you finish the 5th iteration of the loop, by the time it would have come to line 5, right? It would have read line 5. Okay, I
What
get
you
your...
do, you just delete all the records, okay? Then there is no record, right? So what their question is that even there is no record, still the count will be 1. That is their question. If you remove all the 4 records,
Oh, right. Yeah.
That is they are asking. That's why they are confusing.
Okay, that's a good question. Let's do that. Let's do empty file then. I get your point. So if mock.txt is the empty file, then line will anyway come in. So line, you're saying count will be 1 more than the number of lines in the file.
Yes.
So I think better instead of start, we can use the file dot read 1.
Actually, I believe like when a new file is created, automatically a empty string is there. That's the end of line character. So that empty string will be treated. Like, why it is reading it that way.
Yeah, so this is actually a very good question. Let's just spend few more minutes on this question. I would still like to take at least one non-trivial example and try it. Okay, so this file has 2 lines. Okay, let's say one by one. Let's go. In the first iteration of your while loop, what's going to happen? You are going to enter count will be 1. Count will be 1, and then line will be the string 1/n, right?
Yes, correct.
So you'll go back in the second iteration of the loop. Line will be 1/n, so you will enter count will become 2, and line will be just /n. So you will go to the third iteration of the loop, and then count will be 3, and now line will be the empty string. You are right, yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, whoever pointed it out. So count will be 1 more than the number of lines in the file. Okay, so who pointed this out? This is a very important point.
I mean, in the second line there will be a new line character, right?
Yeah. In the second line there's a new line character.
Got it, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, it's a good point, man. It's a very good point. So just to since we have the luxury of opening the editor, let's just open this was again pointed. This editor was again introduced by one of the students, and I have started using it since. It is very useful. Let's create this. What we'll do is we'll run the whole thing.
Which editor?
Which editor, sir? Can you mention?
Yeah, it's called THONNY, Thonny, or I don't know what it's called. THONNY. It's available for all 3 platforms. One of the students only mentioned it. I don't remember his name now. But this seems to be very lightweight and where is that? Yeah, so I have the luxury of using the editor here, but unfortunately that won't be the case in the exam. All right, so let's just run this. We should be able to open mock.txt. It would have been written somewhere. So, okay.
It will be in desktop, I think, like, because the file is in desktop. Home path will be for it.
Yeah. So just give me 1 second. We are we read 51. We have written 51 lines, right?
Actually, if we don't do this all, means don't open the file, then also the count will be 51. If we do directly it on compiler, it give count as 51 only.
Okay. See, I think. See, I am missing something. What can someone explain why this is happening? See, we have written. Where is this? Let me see where the mock.txt is. Where have I written it?
Sir, actually what we are doing, the line we are putting a value as a start, okay? So anyway, it is going to go inside the file, whether the file has any record or not, okay?
Correct.
So this star is counting one extra, but then only it is going 50 plus 1. Instead of star, I think if you take this file dot read line, the one line, then it will start from the 1. And then I think the count will, can you just change this start to file dot read line?
Yeah. So you are perfectly right. So, but what I want to figure out is, see, here we argued. Let me go back. Here we argued that count is giving us one more than the number of lines in the file, right? So if the file has, say, 51 lines, then count should be 52, right? Am I wrong, or?
Actually, what is happening now, like, the thing
They
is,
interchange the line 10 and 11.
Actually, I think in the second line there won't be a new line character. It would be just an emptiness.
Yeah, right. I think it's.
Sorry, can you come again?
In the second line there won't be a new line character, I think.
In the second line.
Yes, I mean in the example that you took back in the.
Okay, in the example that we took.
Here, after in the second line, I don't think there would be a new line character, right?
Yeah. Oh, right. All right. Yeah. So 1/n and then.
Yes, is correct. It will not go inside at all.
Will be just an empty line.
Right.
Yeah, that would be an empty thing.
Correct.
Okay. So it will still be, then there will be no third iteration, right?
Yes, there won't be a third iteration.
Okay, so we have to keep this in mind while framing questions, because this can be really tough without an editor also.
like, please explain again what.
Yeah.
I think if there was a new line character in line 2, it would go up to line 3.
Line 3, right? Yeah. So yeah, okay. So it's a very subtle, but at the same time, good observation. So see, if let's look at this. See, for this I have to use the editor, okay, because otherwise it can get very tough to explain. So you can rest assured that we won't ask this type of very tough question in exam. Okay, this is like too tough. Figuring it out was. I'll just create a new mock.txt. That way it's easier. It says there is a mock.txt, but I'm not able to find it anywhere. Anyway. Okay, so let's. So if there are only 5 lines, right? 5 lines in the file having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just run this and print the line in each case. So if I run this, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This extra new line is coming, and after 5, right? After 5, am I getting any new line? I'm not able to figure that out here. So let me just say end equal to the null string. Okay, so after 5 is the last line in the file, right? So there is no 5/n.
5 empty string is there.
Yeah, but yeah, so basically, see, the loop is kind of tough here. So let's remove the loop and just have 5 lines, right? So file dot read line. Let's just duplicate this.
Actually, you can do one thing. You can write file dot read lines, and you can find the length of that list, right?
Yeah, that's also a good idea. So let's do it that way also. This I will just go over this first. Okay. Let me run this. So line 1 is 1/n. Okay. Line 2 is 2/n. Line 3 is 3/n. Line 4 is 4/n, and line 5 is 5. Right? It doesn't have any new line after it. Okay. So now if I try to read the file again,
Yes,
file
sir,
dot
but
read.
here it is no new line, but in our code there will be a new line character, right?
Yeah, I am coming to that, right? So so I have closed the file. That's why it's giving me an error. Okay, so I hope you got this. Now what we'll do is we will add one more line after this in our file. So this is our file. Okay, and now let's see what we get. There are 6 lines in the file, right? So file.read line. You will run this. So first 5 lines, there shouldn't be any problem. So line 5 is f/n. If you notice, there is one more line after this, so it's f/n. And then line 6. Okay, so line 6 is just the null string. So this is what I was missing earlier, and it was very nicely pointed out. Okay, till now, is this clear? I mean, is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If I do again like a file dot read line, what will output it will be like?
So if you do say line 7, let's say as file dot read line, that will just be the null string again. So no matter how many times you do, so line 7 will be.
So here the length of a file dot read line should be 5 or 6.
Sorry,
so there is no definite end of file character like.
No. So see here the length. If you do file dot read lines, it should give us 6 the elements. So if you let's do file dot read lines, we should get 6 elements in the list. Okay, so lines.
Sir, but how many means what is the storage that
why
it is
don't we
given to line 7?
why don't we write this first piece of block of code to check the mock.test like in question?
Yeah, once again we'll come to that, but we will just understand that.
That is file dot read line.
Yeah, let's just understand that this is working fine, and then we'll get back to that. Okay. So I am running this. Let's see what length of lines is. Oops, it's 5. Okay, it says it's 5. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So even though we have one extra line, so I'm not sure if this editor is behaving this way or if this is the case.
Is it that read lines doesn't read an empty character? And that is why the list throws only 5 elements?
Yeah, so see, yeah.
Can you do a WC minus L of that file?
Right, so if it is in desktop, I can certainly.
Sorry, in lines.
Where is this? This was saved in home desktop, right? Let's see. Okay, so it says there are only 5 lines. Okay, that's interesting. If you open it here, there are only 5 lines. So let me create one extra line here and save it. So there are now 6 lines according to this. And let me run this again. Okay, what is lines?
This is per expectation, no? The last line is an empty line.
Yeah, yeah. So guys, this is a bit confusing, right? I would request you all to just leave it at this stage right now. We will.
But how does this mock.txt look in the editor? Just checking.
Yeah, we will open and see. I don't know. This is in desktop, but this doesn't seem to show me why mock.txt. It is there. Oops, it's having these 2 extra lines.
So actually, after writing a blank character, it goes to next line.
Yeah,
and it stops at next line, start of the next line.
Yeah. So see, what we will do is, let's. If it has confused some of you, I'm very sorry. So you can just forget about this whole thing right now.
No, but then this total number of lines plus 1 could be a correct
try
logic.
with the full question out there in the compiler.
Sorry, both of you were speaking. So can one of you go ahead?
I was saying that copy and paste the whole question, sir. Then we will do a file.readline. Then we can understand.
Yes.
You want to write? You want to just put this whole thing here, right?
Yes, sir. And do a file.readline.
Yeah, sure. That we will try. This is like one last time we will try this. We'll open the file here. Okay, mock.txt. Okay. So this is expected because there are 51 lines. This is expected, but the point is when we try to read lines. Okay, that is where the confusion seems to stem from.
This is giving correct output, no for count.
If you could just append the lines to a list and like finally print that list.
Okay, we will do that. Let's just. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, so I think this is what is happening. So there should be 51 lines in the file, and that is the case here because you are not ending with 100. Instead, you are ending with 100/n. So the last line in the file is essentially a null line, right? It's just a null string. Okay, so this is the final. Yeah.
Sir, if you press space on the last line, then the count will change, right?
Yeah, the count will change. Yeah. Any non-null character will mean there is something. Line will not be a null string, and it will increment count by 1.
So it is reading up to the last line which has /n character.
Yeah.
What I understand that when we are making it a list, it is giving 50 elements only. I mean, whatever is the condition.
Yeah.
And when it is writing to a text file after 50 elements, giving 50 elements, it goes to the next line as the beginning position.
Right.
You could just append
but
it.
it is but there is nothing over there, so that is why it is a null thing, and the while condition breaks because of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Within the while loop, the count becomes 51, but after 51, the while loop breaks and the file closes.
Right. So for those of you who are watching this, right? So I would like to say two things. First is we will not have something as tricky as this in the exam. So this was, in fact, even for this particular session, I didn't intend this question to be so tricky. It so happened that it became like really complicated. So don't worry. As was just to conclude, the final line is this. So there are 51 lines in the file, and the 51st line happens to be just the null string, just to have the null string in it. So after reading these 50 lines, when we actually read the 51st line, this will just be the null
Actually,
string.
line has 50 lines only. If you are treating it as 51, then now, why not 52, 53, 54? So actually, like if you do read line again, it will again show a null character, null character, null character. So it will be indefinite number of lines. But like there are 50 lines only, but next expression is read in a different iteration of the loop. Okay, like the 50th line is read in the 50th loop, but the 51st, the null character after it is read in the 51st loop, and that's why the count is updated one more, and then the thing is which is
One
null. Pardon me?
Yeah, before making the while loop, I mean, giving a false, the count becomes 51. And then after becoming 51, the while loop terminates because of false condition.
Yeah. So are we clear on this, or is there any more confusion?
Like lines will be 50 only, whatever we say. Like it won't be 51. Like if we read line, even we do read line, then if we say 51, that what's meaning of 51? Like it could be 52, 53, 54. Like it could be any number of lines. If you do one
Can
more
we take
line,
next problem?
So
Yeah.
the correct
Yes,
answer
sir.
for the problem number 4 will be 50, right, sir?
Uh,
Because there is 50 lines only. Count is going over counting.
okay. So
exactly. That's yeah.
yeah. So this is actually a. I get what you're saying. Okay. So this shall I get back to you in the next session? So next session will be happening on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
By that time, it will be the answer will be more concrete and more sure. So this is a bit tricky. So I would like to take a closer look at it.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Hello. Okay. I hope I am still on the call.
Yes, you're audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, suppose in the previous question, if suppose we write a code like that, when it was the last number, that means 50, 50th line, then we never write tab n. Then it will be count 50, right?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Can you come again?
Suppose we write a code like when this is not a last line, then it will always be tab n, and when it comes the exactly last I, then there will be no tab n, right? Then then the number of lines will be 50.
See, when you are writing to a file, typically what you do is when you come to the last line in the file, you don't include the slash n. right? So you're supposed to end the file without having anything extra on the next line. So without
Yes.
moving to the next line.
Hmm.
So here I am a bit doubtful about whatever I have written myself. So if I try to answer this, I will kind of mess the whole thing up. So what I will do is this question alone, let's leave it for now. I will look into it more closely. I will get back to you with a proper response on Thursday.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So sorry about this. This was like a very messy question. So we'll move on to.
But an important one.
Yeah.
Recursion is foo a times 2, correct?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting two different answers, roughly it's either 20 or it's 21 That seems to be the. If we take the mode of all your answers, maybe we'll get the right answer. So can someone tell me what it's doing? I mean, before getting the numerical answer, what is this food trying to do?
It's just multiplying the input by 2 every iteration.
Okay, and how long does it do that?
Till the number ends up reaching 1 billion or whatever that large number, 1 trillion.
Okay.
Right?
Or greater
And
than 1
Till
million.
430.
yeah. So when the number becomes more than equal to, so it will never be equal to, so it will be always greater or less, right? Because it will never 2 to the power of something, right? It will never get the full number, right?
2 power 31, I believe.
Yeah. So when it becomes 2030, right?
31.
It will 2 power 30, it will become more. So then it will return just 0.
2 to power 31, it will be greater than 1 billion.
No.
2 to power 30.
1 billion is less than 2 to the power 30.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Come back at 2 to the power 30.
Yeah. So after 2 to the power of 29, it will stop.
All right. So yeah. So the
No, it will after 4 to the power 29. It will again go to next iteration.
One more time. Yeah. Right. So the idea is whatever you pointed out, that's very close to the idea behind the function. So given any number, how many times should you multiply that number, or how many times should you keep doubling that number so that you exceed 1 billion for the first time? Right? So how many times should I multiply a number by 2? So I just write it down. Foo of A will give you the number of times A needs to be multiplied by 2 so that it exceeds 1 billion. I mean, by it I mean the product, right? I mean, A into 2 power whatever. A, let's say what we are essentially looking for is A times 2 power K should be greater than or equal to as 1 billion. And as I think Srinivasan pointed out, it will not be 1 billion ever. So, or maybe will it? No, it can't, right? So it's not a factor of 1 billion. 2 power n. No, it can, right? For some particular value of k, it can actually be equal to 1 billion. So I just safer to say a. Okay, so what is the smallest value of k for which a into 2 power k becomes greater than or equal to 1 billion? So that is exactly what foo of a represents. Do you agree with me, everyone, that this statement is right, or is this not clear, or is this statement wrong?
So here k is a iteration, no?
K is the number of iterations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what k is the, I would say k is the value returned by foo of a.
No, then it is k minus 1. No, so that's not, because last one returns only 0.
Correct, but foo of a, let's say foo of a returns k, and I'm saying that k is the number of times a needs to be multiplied by 2 so that I mean, whatever that product a into 2 power k exceeds 1 billion or is equal to, I mean, maybe exceeds is confusing, so that it is okay. So is that statement correct or is it wrong? Okay, so let's try it out for a few values that will give us some clarity. Okay, so a, and this is foo of a, right? So the easiest thing to try out will be 2 power 30 itself. Okay, so if I try 2 power 30, what will be foo of 2 power 30?
0.
It will be 0, right? Because 2 power 30 exceeds 1 billion, so it will be 0. Okay, let's now try 2 power 29. Okay, 2 power 29. What will 2 power 29 be? For foo of 2 power 29?
It will
So
be
it will
1.
be 1.
Okay, because if you do 2 power 29, it will be less than 1 billion. So I'll do 1 plus foo of 2 power 30. And we just noticed that foo of 2 power 30 is 0. So foo of 2 power 29 will be 1. And okay, let's just extend this for one more value and see the pattern. What will 2 power 28 be?
Should be 2.
Right, so if we just keep going on, what is 1024? 1024 is what?
2 power 10.
2 to the power
2 power 10, right? So f of 2 power 4 of 2 power 10 will be, if you extend this logic here, whatever you observe,
30 minus 10.
exactly, right? So it's 30 minus 10, which is equal to 20. Okay, so if you have to multiply 2 power 10, which is 1024, 20 times with 2 for it to exceed 1 billion for the first time. Okay, so that's the idea. So any doubts here? Anything?
So it will be 21, I think.
It is returning 1 plus foo every time.
The
Yeah, it
last
is
the last thing
1
is 0,
plus.
returning 0. So it will be 20 only. So
No, I believe like if you create a table like 1 plus foo of 2 to the power 10, foo 2 to the power 10 goes to 1 plus foo 2 to the power 11, okay, and so on go to 1 plus foo 2 to the power 30, okay. So per iteration
For
we
the
are,
first time, it is not 1 plus foo 2 to the power 10. It is 1
yeah,
plus foo 2
it
to the
is.
power
It's okay.
12.
Sir, the value of 2 to power 30 should be 1, right?
11, okay.
Yeah. 2 to power 30. When the value of a is 2 to power 30, the value of foo of a should be 1, not 0.
it'll be 0.
Why? 2 power 30 exceeds 1 billion, right? That's the information
Yeah.
that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, yeah, I think if I can, because you've done it the right way, sir, because you go to the boundary condition and see the first time one way of unrolling a recursion is to see if a recursion will ever be called, right? The first case is no recursion at all. The function returns from the base condition or the terminating condition.
Yeah.
Then you have built it. So then this is the right answer. So I don't think people should get confused if you look at it that way. So 2 to the power of 29, the function will recurse once. Right?
Exactly.
And,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And each recursion, you can think of it as one count.
Exactly. Yeah. So is Srinivasan's answer clear to all of you? I think he has explained it very well. So see, that's the reason we start from the base case, right? So 2 power 30 exceeds 1 billion. So I'll just check if maybe I might have missed it, but 2 power 30 is greater than 1 billion. Okay, and it is less than 2 power 29. Okay, so I don't want to go to the editor because this facility will not be available. I just did this so that to demonstrate that the statement is true. Okay, no other reason. So for 2 power 30, it hits the base case. It exceeds 1 billion and therefore it's returning 0. Okay, for 2 power 29, if foo of 2 power 29, if this is not clear, foo of 2 power 29 will be what? When I call this, the first recursive case will be 1 plus foo of 2 power 30, which is 1 plus 0. Right? I hope this is clear. Is there any confusion with this piece of code?
No, sir, it is clear.
Sir, base case is okay. In the point of view of base case, whatever you explain is quite understood. But it is given foo of 2 to the power 10. And if we try to do in that fashion, 2 to the power 10, 2 to the power 11, 2 to the power 12, will you please explain that?
Yeah. So see, that's the easiest way to get there is to try it this way. So you do 2 power 30, you get 0. 2 power 29, you get 1. And one way is to just look at the pattern and surmise that 2 power n is nothing but 30 minus. So as long as n is less than 30, right? 2 power n will be nothing but 30 minus n. So 2 power 28 will be 30 minus 2. Okay, so from this you can.
If like log a was added, then thing will be different. I believe.
I think log will maybe confuse most of them here. So
Log a is 2.
Yeah. So
we are starting from 4 to 2 power 10. So the first iteration will not have 1 plus. And in the next iteration, it will be 1 plus 4 to the power 11. So there will be 19 only plus 1. So it will be total 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say an easier way to get to the answer would be to trace the pattern and to form a general understanding of what the function is doing. Right. So from this you see that whenever a exceeds this value, it's going to return 0, and 1 plus 4 of a into 2. So it's you essentially get to this understanding. How many times I need to multiply a by 2 so that I exceed 1 billion. So it's the same as asking, if I am given some a, how many times should I multiply by 2 so that I hit 2 power 30. Okay, so if I start at 2 power 30, I don't need to multiply by 2 at all. So it's 0. If I start with 2 power 29, I need to multiply by 2 once to hit 2 power 30. If I start at 2 power 10, I need to multiply 20 times so that I hit 2 power 30. Is that clear or is it still confusing?
Clear, sir, clear.
Okay. Okay, so some 2 follow-up questions to that. So this I think is quite easy. Can you tell me what this will be? O of 1
be 30.
O of 1 will be 30, right? So
it's 2 to the power 0, that's it.
Yeah, that is 2 power 0. Because of that, you need to multiply 30 times so that you hit 2 power 30. Okay, now the last question in this thing, in the entire assignment, this is the last question. So you will show all the options here.
Can you just show the previous question, please?
Previous question was 4 of 1.
Yeah, thank you.
So what was earlier problem? That condition, base condition.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
This condition was
Greater than or equal to. Okay.
So, sir, so B depends on my assertion, right? If you start with 1 or 2, doesn't matter. Unless you start with an integer, you will never get a 2 to the power of multiple to be equal to any multiple of 10.
Yeah, I mean 1 billion you are saying, right?
Any number, it just never reach there. I at least okay, so I shouldn't say it never. At least to the numbers that I know, right? It doesn't.
So, see, if you have say 500 million, right? So
as I was saying, I will say I can, because I worked till 64-bit arithmetic. So 2 to the power of 64, it will not reach this number.
Right. So no, so sorry, I didn't get what you're saying. So you're saying for whatever value of A we get, you will never get
for an integer value of A, yeah.
We'll never hit 1 billion, you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, if you start with 1 or 2, I mean, if you start with the binary arithmetic, it will not reach.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
of course, if you reach, if you get 5 somewhere, you will get it, right? So if you start with 10 or something, you'll obviously get it.
Right. Yeah, if you start with 1 or 2, yeah, sure. Okay, so there are some answers: B and C, A, B, C, A, C, B, except D. Every possibility is there, I believe. A, B, A, C, B, C, D also we have no. Very nice. Okay. We will see what is the correct answer. We'll probably go one by one. This is tough, man. MCQ is tough. I mean, I can understand all your concerns. Without the editor, we feel handicapped somehow. It's like
more than the biggest problem with the MCQ, sir, you cannot see all the questions on the test screen.
Right.
Okay, so because see how many times people ask you to go back and up.
Yeah.
Right, and you can't do the split screen also, so that takes a lot of time.
Right. Okay, so we will probably go one by one.
So please keep MSQ as low as possible.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah. So MSQ is the real killer, huh?
Yes, a time killer.
Okay.
For the others, what I meant was I realized that writing the options down saved me time rather than flipping back and forth. I think the extra time of just writing it on paper was better for me.
Okay.
At least for me, it worked out better. So.
Okay. Okay, so this is we have this option here, bar of A and whatever is given here. So is this correct or not? Is this a correct iterative implementation of that recursive function? So I'll go back to the recursive function on the left and the iterative part on the right. So are these two equivalent for any positive integer A? That is what we want to find out.
It should break at A equal to 1 billion.
Exactly, right? So for A equal to 1 billion, it will break because this will return 0, whereas this will return 1, right?
Yeah.
So this is wrong. Option A is wrong because it fails for that corner case of 1 billion, at least 1 billion it fails. So A is wrong. Let's take the next one. So this is option B. Let's see if this is right or not. Okay, the recursive on the left, iterative on the right. Okay, does this seem to be correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's just quickly go that 1 billion case. It is going to come out because it will directly go and return count being 0. So for 1 billion it works. For anything less than 1 billion, what is it doing? It's starting with multiplying A by 2.
Can I know why A is wrong?
I think A is correct still, because like 1 plus 4 11 to 1 plus 4 30. So it is still 2 to power 11 to 2 to power 30, like inside the while.
If you give 1 billion as answer, input, it will still return 1.
Yeah, so for 1 billion it is wrong. That is why
even for 1 billion, this function, I mean the bar of A returns 0, right?
No, it will return 1, right? So if A is 1 billion, this condition will be true. So count
Okay.
will be incremented to 1. And when
Okay.
you go the next time, you will exit the while loop and you will return 1.
Yes.
Okay.
While
So,
foo will give 0.
whereas the actual answer we expect is 0.
Yes.
Here, no, actually it is 1 plus foo to the power 30, which you are outputting. Actually, it is like, if you see in my way, like 1 plus foo to the power 11 till 1 plus foo to the power 30. Okay, it goes. And 2 to
No,
power
no.
30 once, like at each interval 1 is incremented. Okay, because throughout the thing, like, so 30 minus 11 plus 1, that is 20. Okay, 20 times it will increment. It's the
See,
same thing is happening here.
No, see, I get your point, but what we have to see is, the question is this: select all correct iterative implementations, and the second line is important, rather the third line. Foo of A and bar of A must return the same value for any positive integer A. So, what I am doing is, I am entering A, I am setting A equal to 1 billion. Okay.
Okay.
If I set A to be 1 billion, what happens? 1 billion is less than or equal to 1 billion. So I go and multiply A by 2, which is, it exceeds 1 billion, and then I increment count. No, so count will become 1. So bar of 1 billion is going to return 1, whereas foo of 1 billion is going to return 0, because this base case kicks in, right, when for 1 billion.
So
okay, good.
Another way, sir, if I can mention, is that
Sure.
we are reversing the condition. It's like, changing the sign. So
exactly.
we have to strictly, so it's greater than equal to, it has to be strictly less than.
If we enter it as power of 2, it will always be valid.
Right. So yeah, that is correct. But this, it must hold for A. That's why this third line is very important. Must return
Base
ARC.
condition must be satisfied.
Exactly. So functionally, if two things are to be equivalent, then the input output should match. So it doesn't matter if it works for every possible value of A, but for one value it fails. So that should not be the case. So we'll go back. This is option B, right? So option B and this. So is this correct? We are discussing. Will this be same as foo of A for all values of A?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
This seems to be correct, right? So let's just quickly go over this. If you give 1 billion, then it will return 0. For anything less than that, you are going to multiply it by 2 once. So, and count will correspond to the number of times you have multiplied by 2 here. And the moment it exceeds 1 billion, you are going to exit the loop and return count. Okay, so this is correct. B is correct. What is C? Let's take C. C and yeah. What about C? C correct or wrong?
Correct.
Correct, sir. It's breaking at base condition.
Yes, correct.
Exactly. Right. So this is without the break, it's an infinite loop. But what we are doing is we are breaking the moment we exceed the 1 billion case here, right? So if you enter 1 billion, it's going to break and we are going to return count. For all other cases, what's going to happen is we are going to increment count exactly the number of times for which we multiply the number A by 2.
Sir, it would have been a wrong option if is coming after A equal to A star 2.
Exactly. That is the last option, which is option, sorry, this is option C.
Yeah.
Option D is the tricky one.
Correct.
So option D is wrong for the same reason that you said, right?
Yeah.
So for the exact reason that I don't know your name, can you tell me your name?
Shekhar.
Yeah, exactly what Shekhar mentioned, this will happen. 1 billion, again, this will fail because you have the if condition after the count is incremented. Okay, so this is like a bit subtle. All 4 options look very close to the right answer, but only 2 of them are right.
So all questions will be in this fashion?
No. So all questions will not be in this fashion. So
then what else is there, sir? What else is expected?
Yeah, so once again, someone asked correct answer. It's B and C. I will just check. I have the answers file here. Since we are done with everything. Yeah, so B and C are the correct answers for this. Yeah, so see, the all questions will not be so. I mean, I don't know if this was tough or easy. You guys should tell me. Recursion is generally tough, so that might.
Except recursion, everything was okay, sir. It was quite. We are needed to do it on paper.
Yeah. So this file, please don't mistake me. It was like it came out like this.
But C also returns 1, right? For A equal to 1 billion.
Which one? Which one?
C returns 1, right?
C. What? Okay, sorry. This is D.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. D is wrong for that reason, and C returns the correct value. D is wrong. Okay, yeah. So this file handling question, don't worry. This such tough, this tricky thing will not ask in file handling, but this alone I will, as I promised, I will clarify it in the next session.
Sir, how many max questions are expected in Python?
Okay, that is something we are not supposed to reveal, but the question format will be fairly along these lines only. You can expect questions similar to this in the exam.
No, like in maths, we get around 15 questions, 10 to 15 questions. In stat, around 10. So in that way, what will be the number for Python?
Same, you can say something similar.
Okay.
Okay, so
when do we have mock?
Yeah, mock tests we have. I think it has been they are ready. You should be getting it latest by tomorrow morning, I believe, if they are
So
not already.
please have it before Thursday.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we will release it mostly by tomorrow morning, and on Thursday we'll try to discuss the solutions to the mock.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so we have like 10 more minutes. What we can do is I'll maybe share my screen, replit screen, and you can discuss some general snippets of code.
So could you show the best way to interpret a regression problem? I've seen some people making very good interpretations on discourse.
You mean the regression as in linear, or the recursion? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, so recursion, interpreting recursion, is it?
Yeah, like when without access to a terminal and all that.
Okay, I will.
Like given a certain problem, how do you think about it recursively?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, let me open some things without the. So I need concrete examples for that. Let me pull something up for you. Okay, why am I not able to share the screen? 1 second. Just give me a second. I need to
So this pandas is not there, no?
Just give me a second. Yeah, so I'm sorry. So this question you asked, right, regarding recursion, the best way to interpret. See, one of the ways is to use this principle of mathematical induction. Okay. I think you all did Max 1. You all came across induction in Max 1, right? Do you folks remember that? George is the one who asked, right?
I don't recall that.
Okay.
Please
So,
repeat, sir.
yeah. So, yeah, once again, my screen sharing is coming on in a minute. And if once that is there, I can share my screen and explain. Okay, see what the tough, if you are going to trace the recursive calls, for example, the question that we just saw, right, 1 plus f of 2 power 2 into a, and if you are going to blindly trace the recursive calls, things can get very tough. So you have to immediately see what the recursion is trying to do. I mean, in the larger picture. So if we are framing proper questions, right, from our side, then mostly the recursive function will have some meaning. It won't be some random thing which is doing some random stuff. Okay, so the recursion will usually stand for something meaningful. Okay, I'm still talking in the air. I need my co-host permission to be enabled, so kindly bear with me till that time. Okay, so until that sharing permission comes on, so how have you found the course, everyone, generally? Any feedback?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can I ask a doubt?
Yeah, I mean, see, I can't share anything for a while, at least for a few more minutes.
That's fine. Sir, in today's last question, in option C, it was written while true. Then we do the following thing.
Right.
Sir, and we never written that true, it was false. If this not satisfy, it will be false. So, sir, if we write while other things otherwise true, that will be then code will be finally.
One second. So I didn't get your question exactly. I will just share my screen and type what you are saying.
Actually, sir, I am asking. It was written. Yes.
Okay, so you are saying while true. Okay.
Then the following things were happening.
Then something is happening, right? So a, let's say equal to a into 2, something like that you are doing. Okay.
Yes, sir. So I am asking if there is not true and some other words.
Okay.
or variables, then the code will be finally run or not.
Okay, so see, all that is required here is that whatever you type in here is a Boolean expression, okay, or something that has a Boolean value. So here, this is the most explicit such thing. So if you say true, then the condition is true, right? While condition, you go into the while loop, right? So that's the syntactical aspect, right? While some condition, then what do you do? Execute. So in this case, that condition is itself true. So what you're asking is, what if there is something else here? So you can have anything here. You could have a string, for example. You could have you could even have a number, anything that has some Boolean value to it. But usually we won't ask such things. It'll be some very clear condition like while a greater than b. Say b equal to 2, while a greater than b, then go ahead and do something.
Yes.
If it is a single word, right? So for example, flag, then usually it will be a Boolean value. Say while flag, keep multiplying a by 2, something like that. And if a reaches some value, then break. Okay. So this will break when a becomes 1024.
And we never taking tag equals to after break, we never take tag equals to false. So always it is while true.
Yeah, it will always be while true, but since we are breaking out of it, right? So we don't. Yeah.
The
Okay.
code,
So there.
yes, stop.
Right. Yeah. So there are two ways to get out of the loop, right? One is to forcefully break it. The other is to naturally let it run its course by changing the condition. So if you don't change the condition, and if this condition is always going to be true, then the only way to get out of the loop is to break out of it.
Yes. So another way is after a equals to 1 to 04, if we write flag equals to false, then also it will happen, right?
Sorry, can you come again?
In line 6, if we write flag equals to false.
Yeah. Yeah, then also you will get out of the loop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
you are
sir.
right.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And it's a nice session.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there are just a few more things about whatever George had asked. I will just quickly try to answer this. It's a bit tough to wrap our heads around this. Right. So let's take up the simplest thing, right? Adding the first n numbers. So if n double equal to 0, we return 0. If not, we return n plus add of n minus 1, right? So this is the typical code for recursively adding the first n natural numbers, right? Okay, so when you see some recursive code like this, the first thing you have to try to understand is in general, what is add trying to do? Okay, so usually if the question has been framed by someone who's reasonable, the recursive function will always do something meaningful. Say it will be adding the first 10 numbers, or it will be finding the product of first 10 numbers, or as we saw earlier, right, it will be finding the smallest value of k such that a into 2 power k exceeds 1 billion. So all these are the pivot around which the recursive function revolves, or the very meaning for this function's existence. If you are able to find that, then recursion is extremely simple. Okay, so the first step is this: what is it trying to do? The second step is to actually prove that it is indeed doing that. Okay, and for proving, you use what is called induction. Okay, so let me just quickly illustrate what I mean by this. here I have a sense that this is trying to add the first n natural numbers. So what I will say is my guess will be add is adding first n natural numbers. Okay, this is my guess. Okay, add of n. Next, what I will do is I will go ahead and try to prove if this guess is right or not. For that, what I will do is there will be two things. One is I will test the base case, that is step 2.1. If n is 0, that is the base case, right? Is my guess correct? So let's look at it. So if n is 0, then I'm adding the first 0 natural numbers. Doesn't make much sense. So, but okay, maybe I will just change it to 1 so that it is a more sensible base case. So if n is 1, is my guess correct? Yes, right. So I'm adding the first natural number. There is only one natural number and I'm returning 1. So my guess is correct for add of 1. At least that much I know. Then my second step will be my what is called the inductive step, right? So if my guess is correct for n minus 1 steps, okay, then I'm asking, is my guess correct for the nth step? So notice this, the recursive call is this. Okay, my guess is that add of n adds the first n natural numbers. By that guess, add of n minus 1 will be the sum of the first n minus 1 natural numbers, right? So in that case, what is my add of n doing? It is adding n to add of n minus 1, or it's adding n to the sum of first n minus 1 natural numbers, which is nothing but the sum of first n natural numbers overall. Okay, so all this might have gone over the head. So did you folks catch something of this?
Yes, sir. Just that inductive step. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah. So this, yeah, I understand that this can be a bit. This is too simple an example. Okay, so this week 8 is over, right? Assignments. Week 8 deadline is over, right, from our side. So if you folks remember, we had one question on finding the. Can someone tell me what all recursion questions we had in week 8 assignment? Does anyone remember? Hello?
Sir, maybe reverse list and sorting.
Okay, we had reverse list, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sorting, reverse list, and I think binary search also we use recursion. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, right. Binary search.
Okay, sorting, reverse list we had, right, for sure. Because I don't want to do something which was not there. Okay, so I'll assume that we had reverse list. Okay, so reverse of L.
I don't think we had reverse. Reverse was covered in the class by the sir.
Oh, okay.
I think
sorting was there. Sorting was there.
Sorting and yeah.
Okay.
Binary search was one of recursive nature.
Okay, sorting was there, right? So we'll try a different way, say a different approach to sorting using recursion. You'll just write the code first. So we'll try to first insert an element X into a list L. I mean, this code you would have seen a lot of times. It's good to go over this. Okay. Okay, so the basic idea is this: insert X into a sorted list. Okay, so for each element in L, what I will do is I will go ahead and append the element, but if I have not inserted and if I know that the element is rather X is less than the element that I am currently looking at, I will first insert X into the list, and since I have inserted, I will say that inserted is false. Okay, so this is not, this particular flag variable is inserted, not false but true. I have inserted, then I come out. If inserted is still false, which is if I have not inserted into the list, then please insert. Okay, so let's try it for 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Let's say insert of L comma 4. Okay, let's run this. Okay, replete this.
We are not doing anything.
Okay, we are not returning anything. Sorry. Put L. Okay, so this is inserting the element 4 into the sorted list L. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to shuffle the whole thing. There is a way to shuffle it. Okay, if you insert the random library and do random.shuffle, I think this will work. Let's see. Okay, right. So now the list is shuffled. Okay, and that's your shuffled list. Okay, so I'm shuffling just to make sure that the list is unsorted. Okay, or let's take some bigger list, a list of range of 100 elements. Okay. So now if I try to print L, it will be a completely shuffled list of 100 elements from 0 to 99. Okay, now with this list, what we have done is, if we are given a sorted list, we can insert an element X. Now we are going to write a recursive code to sort this list. Okay, so sort a list L recursively. Okay, so here we will try to do those 3 steps. One is fixing the base case, another is the inductive step, right? And the first n-1 elements are sorted. We go to the right. Then just insert the nth element into the sorted list. Okay, is this idea clear? The basic idea. So to write our recursive function to sort the list L, we are going to assume that the first n-1 elements are sorted, and then we are going to insert the nth element into the sorted list. Okay, so first you should not worry about the base case. You should worry about our main idea behind our function. So how do we sort the first n-1 elements? Can someone tell me the recursive code for that? How will it look?
n-2, checking for n-2.
Okay, so it will be sort. See, what is first n minus 1 elements? L of 0 is to length of L minus 1, right? This is the first n minus 1 elements, right? So I am going to say sort this. Go ahead and sort the first n minus 1 elements. And then we'll come to this part. Insert the nth element into the sorted list. Okay, now let's say I'll just break this up into, since I've already written this insert of L comma X, I'll just reuse that insert of sorted list comma L of minus 1. Okay, this will return a sorted list. I will just return that. Okay, this is what I've done. I have just executed these 3 lines, yeah, or rather I've implemented these 3 lines in code form. Now we come to base case and we ask what happens if, see, every time we do this, we are cutting down the size of the list by 1. What happens if the length of the list is 1? What do we do? Any answers? Anyone?
Return the element.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll return the list itself, right? Because we are operating on the list. Okay, I will remove these comments now. Now let's run this. I am not 100% sure, so we will have to verify if we are right. Okay, I have a shuffled list L. Now I'm going to say sort of L, sorted L. Let's see. Okay, so it seems to be sorted. One way to check that is, since we have the elements from 0 to 100, this should give us true. If we print this, this should be true. Invalid keyword, why is it in that, or equal to, okay. Okay, so it returns true. So we have actually sorted it. So that is the general process that we use to write a recursive code. We start off by understanding what our function is doing. We then write the recursive part. Okay, and when we wrote the recursive part, this is what we did. The general idea is to sort n minus 1 elements and then insert the last element into the sorted list. Okay, so when you are trying to understand this as a recursive code, so when someone has given this to you and they ask you what it is doing, you must first try to get an idea of what the function is. It's trying to sort. Okay, and how is it trying to sort? You will get an idea in the recursive call. Okay, it's calling the function on n minus 1 elements, and then finally it's inserting the last element into the sorted list. So this is the way to unravel the recursion. Okay, so it's a bit tough. I can get it, but it comes from practice. The more you practice, you will get an idea of how to go about doing it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir?
Yeah.
The sorted always gives ascending order, na?
Yeah, in this case, it gives us ascending order.
And sir, is matrix important for this quiz?
Matrix is important for the course, so that is all I can say at present.
But sir, in this quiz?
I'm not sure. It's so all chapters are important. See, if you ask me, this professor mentioned, right, there are some questions which should not be asked. So this falls under that category.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so maybe another 5 minutes. Anyone else has any questions, general questions?
Sir, one
Will
thing
we
I
get
want to ask.
questions on precedence?
Sorry.
We get questions on precedence.
So it is good to know these things in general. Again, these are all questions that should not be asked.
Sir, one thing is I want to ask, like in a finding in errors in any code, like what should be my approach, general approach, like especially regarding the quiz, like or any questions, what should be my approach? Like if something is wrong, like how should I identify it to be wrong? Like can you give any certain
I mean, logical errors you are saying, or syntax?
logical notes?
Okay, logical only, right? Okay.
Yeah.
If something is wrong,
without the editor, without the compiler.
Yeah, I get your point. It's a very good question, which is difficult to answer.
Some general points which you can get, like.
Okay, how do you? Okay.
Like in question was then like there is like integer. Okay, I was thinking in term of 2 to power something. Okay, like I didn't saw that thing. That's my mistake. Like, so any points which I can keep in my mind before solving.
See, usually when it comes to studying code, right, and trying to debug,
yeah, exactly.
What if you don't have the interpreter or editor, then the one way could be to look for corner cases. So that's what we did in that in the recursion example, right? We hit the base case, and the error was actually in that one point where the base case was failing. Hello.
Yeah, somebody is okay. No.
Right. So the corner cases. So for example, if there are questions on lists, right? So you could check for empty list condition. Is the code failing for an empty list? Uh, is is the code failing if the list has exactly one element? Right. By failing, I mean not syntactically, but am I testing for singleton lists, empty lists? Those kind of things you could look for. But in general, it's tough, man. I mean, yeah, I can sympathize with you folks.
No, I don't need sympathy. If some points you can give, otherwise that's a problem which we have to face. That's not a issue.
Yeah, so see, more than sympathy, I know sympathy is useless, but you have to, yes, you have to go option by option, and yeah, there is, I don't see any.
Carefully looking at the options, one definitely feels that which is right, which is wrong. But then it takes a little extra care, which eats more time. In case of, particularly in case of MSQ.
Exactly, yeah. So, for example, if you're asked function definitions, right, which is the correct implementation, see, some of them would be obvious. You can eliminate some very obvious things. But for others, I'm sorry, man, you have to go through, you have to basically stick to each line and see every line. So once you narrow it down to say 2 options, say out of 4, 2 are going to be certainly wrong, let's say. For the other 2, there is no other go but to drill down, check if each line is doing what it's supposed to do. There is no escaping that. That's how I see it.
Like in that option D, writing on a piece of paper line by line, that will help.
Yeah, maybe what you could also do is you could introduce imaginary print statements, right? You could become, in some sense, the interpreter yourself. And how will you debug usual code, right? You will print everything line by line, right? So for example, if you're being asked a question about lists, then in each iteration, usually it will have some for loop or some while loop, right? Just print the state of variables at every stage. And see, most of programming, I feel, is generally about keeping track of the state of variables. Okay, what is my variable A doing from one iteration to the other? Is it state changing? Is it becoming bigger? Is it becoming smaller? Is it staying the same? So if you can maybe write down for every question, if you have the time, you can write down on the left in one table all the variables, and on the right in each iteration what state that variable falls in, right? Is that changing? If you do that, I think you will not miss anything, but it's also time consuming.
Okay.
Okay, I know it is not at all a
Like,
good suggestion, but it's like
got
more
it.
than
Like,
this, yeah.
in the thing, like one more thing, like for like I have solved the question. Like last time, like I usually check the questions once more. Like while I've solved, like have I missed something, or like can you give some points on that question after solving the question, and like the thing, like after solving it, like have I missed something, like why it could be wrong or why it could be correct?
Why it could be wrong? Yeah, see, usually we miss out on corner case, right? That is, again, I will go back to that only, right? So if you are asked to find the right implementation of function, in the general sense, you would have got it right. So for most of the values, probably your function is working, whatever option you have selected. But maybe now, here and there, for that small value of n or whatever, it's maybe failing. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm not being very helpful here, but
No, actually, you are being like you might not sound it like, but you are okay. You can
okay.
actually like got something.
Okay.
Actually, have a doubt. So, will we get any questions regarding precedence?
It's good to be prepared for everything, I would say. Again, this is like, I'm not supposed to either agree or disagree, or rather say yes or no to these things, because it's a part of policy, right? You have to be prepared for every single aspect of the syllabus from weeks 1 to 9, or rather 1 to 4 for quiz 1, 5 to 9 for quiz 2. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't say anything more.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so if there are no other queries, I think we can stop. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. We will meet again on Thursday. Okay, so we are stopping the session now. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.